Yo, what is up guys? I'm Hassam here. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about if expressions in Rust. I said if expressions because if is an expression in Rust. And we're going to see that in this video. So if expressions are simple in Rust, for example, let's say we have a variable called number, which is 3, and now I want to check some conditions against the number variable. The syntax is like this. I can say if and put my condition here. If number is lower than 5, for example, here I have something to do. For example, I can print the condition was true, and now if this condition is met, this block of code will be executed, especially from this curly braces to this one. So let's check this out. Here you can see the condition was true because 3 is lower than 5. So this is cool. But what if I want to run some code if this condition was not true? So one way to do that is to use the else block. So here I can say else and put my codes here. For example, I can say the condition was not true. And now if the number is greater than or equal to 5, this line will be executed. But because the number is lower than 5, we still get the first block because the condition is met. Okay, so let's run the code again, and here you can see the condition is true. But if I change the number to something else like 7 and run the code again, here you can see the condition was not true, because now this condition is not met, and we're going to this block of code. Okay, that's cool. One other thing that I want to talk about is in Rust, unlike other languages, we can't say something like this, because in other languages they have things like type juggling or like that, that they will somehow convert the type of variable to each other. For example, if you say something here, the number will be translated to a Boolean value, and that value will be evaluated. But in Rust, we don't do these kind of operations. Here, if requires a Boolean expression, and if we pass an integer here, then the Rust compiler will complain about that, and it says expected a bool value, but found integer. So these kind of if statements or if expressions are not supported in Rust, and you should keep that in mind. So if you want to check, for example, if the number is not 0, you can say you can put an exclamation mark here and an equal sign. You can see the ID will change that to this ligature, but in reality these are one exclamation mark and an equal sign. Okay, so if you put something like this, so when the number is not 0, we will get this line, which is the case here. And there is another thing that I want to talk about. Let's say, for example, here we have 6, and we want to have multiple branches here. We don't want a simple if-else expression here. We want more situations to check for. So here, for example, I want to check the modulus value of 4. So to find out if the number is divisible by 4 or not. So I can put this character here. This will check the modulo operation of this number against 4, and if the remaining is 0, so the number is divisible by 4. Now let's change this. And now I want to have multiple branches, so I can say else, and then with a space here I can say if. Now my new expression. So here, if our number is divisible by 3, we will run this block of code, and we will skip this section here. And I can add multiple branches, and finally we can have the last else expression here. So if none of the conditions above will be passed, the else part will be executed. So here for a summary, we have a number here which is 6, and we will calculate the remaining of that number with 4 to see if it's 0, and if that's true, the number is divisible by 4, and we will do that for 3 and 2, and if none of the above conditions were passed, we will get here. So we can run that. Here you can see the number is divisible by 3, so I can change this here, and now you can see the number is divisible by 4. And if I put 7 here, you can see number is not divisible by 4, 3, or 2. So that's it for using multiple if branches. There is another syntax in Rust which is match expressions, which is more straightforward, but we will talk about that in next episodes. Another thing that I want to talk about is using if expressions in let statements. As I said early in the video, if is an expression in Rust. So for example, we can put an if here and use that conditions here, and like returning values in functions without semicolons, we can have return values here. For example, I can say if the condition is true, return the 5, otherwise return 6, and I should define condition which is, for example, true. This is important to remember that condition must be a Boolean value. If the condition is not Boolean, we will get error here. And now I can print number here. So the condition is true, and this section will be executed, and the number should be 5. And now you can see the number is 5. If I change this to false, you can see the number is 6. So as you can see, we can use if expressions in Rust. We can do that because if is an expression and will return the value that we provided here. But one thing that is important is both of these values should be same type. If, for example, here I put a string here, we can see the Rust will complain that. So here you can see expected integer, but found the string. This is makes sense because Rust want to assign a type to this variable, and then we are using 5 here, Rust will assign the i32 type to this variable, and then we are changing the type here, so it compiles that it want to have the same type for both outputs. And when we have the same type, everything runs fine. So that's it for this video. I hope you learn about if expressions in Rust. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.